Welcome, everybody. I really am genuinely excited and thrilled to be introducing this wonderful guest today, a gentleman called Brad Brewer. And I was so stoked that he would have a connection with us and share his literally wealth of knowledge. We're going to look at how to reclaim your guest journey and get direct bookings from AI search. As this is something I'm particularly passionate about, I am very concerned about the middleman being cut out. And I'm constantly on the hunt for looking for solutions where you can get more direct bookings. More direct bookings, especially in AI search, is going to be quite challenging to do. So finding people who can provide solutions, such as Brad, is going to be just awesome. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of introduction to him. He is today the founder of the Brewer Digital Marketing Agency, and he's also Chief AI Officer of Agentic Hospitality. So Brad's background is actually really seriously impressive. He's worked with over 1 million hotels worldwide, okay? And that includes major names like Club Wyndham, Marriott, and even Drury Hotels. And he's even collaborated with Travel and Leisure. So he's also been recently speaking on the topic of being found in AI search at the very latest in September, end of September, Destination AI Summit, which was held in Washington, D.C. Though through his work with Agentic Hospitality, Brad is leading them away in something that he calls Agentic Hotel Distribution, which we'll go into further. Just to give you an idea, it's an AI deployment as a service platform that is built in collaboration with Google. So it's designed to help accommodation providers be found in AI search so that you bypassing those OTAs. No commissions. We like that, don't we? All right. So as we all know, this is actually becoming really important, even more crucial than ever before. We want to reclaim that guest journey. We want to keep control of our data. That's something that Brad really talks a lot to. And also to get those direct bookings on a consistent basis continually coming in. So welcome, Brad. Thank you so much for coming to join us today. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Victoria. Thank you so much. Look forward to your listeners learning a little more about what insights we have to offer from Agentic Hospitality.
Wonderful. No, this is really cool. So let's just get straight into it. Okay. So do you think OTAs and ads will actually dominate in AI search? It's something that I go on all about all the time. And I just would like to know, what's your stake? Like, what do you think? Is it impinging on our visibility? What's the impact?
The impact could be dire for the industry if Expedia and Booking.com captured the AI native services. The industry globally is at risk. We're at risk of losing the customer entirely, and not for the next 5 years. This round of technology is 10, 15, 20 years. The brands are not going to be able to recover from this. So the brands need to step up today. It's time to start participating in AI native services, just like how the mobile transition came at us. The industry was 5, sometimes 10 years too late to add a mobile website. And I'm getting those same questions directly from the brand. What are my guests going to do? How are they going to use this? I don't trust they're going to be in there. Right. And they just don't trust the technology. The technology is revolutionary this time. And I believe the hotel industry is possibly going to miss this opportunity to the travel agencies, the intermediaries again.
Mm. So this is something that I picked up early on and I talk about a lot. So one of the things that I wanted to have you explain a little bit more, if you don't mind, you talk about how OTAs own your data. And what does that actually mean? I mean, like I have my own hotel website. I own my own data. It's the OTAs
Okay.
that own my data.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Yes, you as a hotel owner, you own your website, you own your domain, you own the content that is there. But what about your product? What are you selling on there? We're not a website brochure anymore. And about middle 2000, when Facebook launched Open Graph Protocol, the web changed from a web of documents and backlinks to a web of objects. We went from strings to things. Everything became an object,
Mhm.
and you could afford actions on those objects. And in our space, a hotel is a building, and I can rent from that building. I can review that building. I can check in, check out of that building. I can request things. I can request spa, F&B. I can request room service, right? Those are all affordances that you take on an object. And the industry, ever since the invention of the web, never understood what they sold. They believe, the industry believes we sell hotels, and we don't. We sell hotel rooms, and Google understands that. Expedia and Booking understand that. And they offer a feed, a merchant feed of your product. So if I were Sam Altman and I control 800 billion users, right? 1 in 10 humans on earth every week goes inside of OpenAI and starts the conversation. If I'm Sam Altman and I'm trying to surface relevant content to 1 in 10 humans on earth, I have to have data. I have to get data. I need the product. And if I go to Marriott, if I go to Hilton, Wyndham, ask any brand if they can supply tomorrow or even today, right now, your hotel feed, none of them will say yes. None of the hotels control their own hotel feed. So what that means is they have to go through a PMS, property management software, a central reservation software to distribute their inventory, their own room, their own product, to distribute it most often to their own website. When Expedia came on Orbit's Hotwire, you started distributing to those third-party intermediaries. They were supposed to be gap fillers, right? And when you gave them a data shell of your property that was more complete than your front desk has, than your sales teams has, than your DOS, then you're giving away your product, and you're doing it in a very formatted structure feed. And what they did is they turned around and started charging you for that feed. They charged 10%, and then it grew to 15, 20, 30%. And now we're talking scale. Now we're talking 50% of all bookings globally go through those two switches, Expedia and Booking.com. And that's because the industry never knew how to distribute. So when you talk about how do I retain my customer data, well, you need to own that distribution channel. You need to be feeding AI. You need to feed Sam Altman your hotel inventory, and nobody is. So we're trying to switch that so that you are owning that distribution and you can say yes to Sam Altman. I want to participate in your app store. I want to get in this new ecosystem that customers are trying to learn how they can do trips better, how they can plan trips better. So that's the opportunity. And when they gave that feed away, the return, what the hotel got back is a reservation that said Victoria. I don't even get your last name. I get an email that is booking 00142, and the email is at Expedia Central or it's at booking.com. I never get Victoria's personal information because they're keeping it from the brand. They want to own the guest. So now you have a guest that books through a third party. When a hurricane comes or when weather, health, right? You can't go on your trip. You need to cancel. Who are you going to call? You're going to call booking.com where you made the booking. They're going to say, I don't help you. I took the commission. You call the hotel now, right? And that's not right for guests. The guest will show up at the property and front desk is going to ask, Victoria, what's your last name? Right? And you're going to say, I made the booking online. Don't you have it in your system? No, they don't. That's the frustration at the front desk every time. Why are you asking me for this? I just filled it out on your website. It's just not shared with the hotel. They block it. So that's the problem is they don't get the personal info. They're paying 30% for that booking. There's nothing left. There's nothing left on the bone when the guest gets to the property. So are they short with the guest? Absolutely. Do they want to start charging junk fees? Yes. That's why there's a $60 per night resort fee now. They needed to offset the losses that the OTAs were mounting at the property. So, I mean, that's what you're trying to do. You have to somehow retain that. And after you retain it, you need to reclaim the journey. You need to establish agentic hotel distribution goes through your own marketplace first. Put generative commerce on your own website. Put your own chat experience, AI assistant on your own website. That's how you reclaim the journey. And then you reinforce direct bookings by adding loyalty to it. Become the merchant of record. Ensure they know that if something bad happens, if health happens or weather happens, you can call us. You can trust that we're going to be there for you. And that all three of those promises have been broken by Expedia, broken by Booking, broken by Google, and broken by the new surfaces, OpenAI, Perplexity is a gated garden with TripAdvisor and Selfbook. So yeah, they're all gatekeepers today. And that's when you need to start looking at why there's one country on the planet, OpenAI did not launch it, one region rather, and that's the European Commission. And somebody needs to ask Sam Altman why. I believe the answer is they're avoiding being penalized and fined because they're violating the European Commission Digital Markets Act. They are gatekeepers.
Mm.
I cannot put my independent properties inside of ChatGPT. And they did a big announcement 2 days ago. It was
Yeah.
October 6th. They
Okay.
stood at Dev Days and said, here, look, we're opening this up to the world. Have your service in 800 billion. It's not billion. I keep saying billion, 800 million people, and you can touch them and you can't. No, Expedia and Booking can on day one. And every day that passes, the hotels can't catch up. It's AI. You're training a model. The model's going to learn. They're going to control the key prompts that surface the most competitive top funnel queries. They're going to go to the OTAs again. And you just can't catch up. Nobody's going to be able to surface one of three spots for hotels in New York, hotels in Chicago, hotels in Las Vegas, hotels in Paris, hotels in Sydney, right? If you can't appear for one of three spots, you're not going to appear in AI surface. And OpenAI and Sam Altman have already put us behind the gun.
That's so interesting. Man, you've just covered so much there. I mean, I just wanted to recap there as well. So this is one of the worries that I've had. When I started, when it first came out, AI mode came out here, Google AI mode just a few weeks ago. And
Yeah.
we did a test run with the members and not one independent hotel came out. All of them were OTAs,
Yeah.
every single one. Now, it's not to say that it wouldn't change and moving forward, et cetera, but I was finding the same in Perplexity. I was finding the same in chat. And I was like, of course, they've got partnerships. Like Altman doesn't do the advertising, but he's in it for the cash. Let's be honest here. So
Right.
partnerships with, oh, how amazing. Why is it that these certain OTAs keep coming up? Well, probably because they're getting a good cut of the commission. And my concern is that as we get further down the line, it's like you pointed out there, Expedia, Booking.com, that when they get more control like that, they end up increasing our commissions. So what's going to happen? You guys are going to just land up working to pay commissions to the OTAs, to these guys that are coming in and taking all your traffic. What are you working for? You're just giving, and you won't have a choice. So that's the whole point of having this kind of discussion. So what I wanted, that was interesting what you mentioned as well about resort fees, that's the way that they were compensating. That's something that I understand has been looked at here in Queenstown. And maybe that is possibly one of the reasons. I mean, that would totally make sense. So my question then I've got for you is, given that the people are loving Mr. Altman, having all these special back-end deals with the OTAs, what are the chances of an independent actually getting surfaced then in the AI? Like, if we were to run with you, genuinely, like, to be like the question that hasn't been asked yet, but probably because they don't understand what's coming, is people, the brand is so strong, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, Expedia, etc. Is my brand genuinely going to get found in there? Like, if I do tie in, seriously, do I have a fighting chance?
It's going to be a challenge, but yes is the answer. Yes, independents can compete once the gates are open. So I believe that if you have a strong brand, if you are running a good property, those small property owners are going to be rewarded in AI services for just being a good operator. Brand queries are still going to drive direct connections. So you will need some sort of app, just like 17 years ago, Steve Jobs introduced the App Store for Apple, right? And this is no different. It's a closed ecosystem that Sam Altman wants to own and control. We need to be careful about saying they have paid partnerships. They probably don't. They have early adopters and early partners. And Apple did the same thing when they launched the App Store. But what is different is 17 years later, we're not advancing. We're taking a huge step back. Day one, when Steve Jobs was up there holding up the phone and talking about the App Store, he said, everybody gets in the gate today.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody could build and get a public app in the App Store launch day.
Okay.
And Sam Altman and OpenAI, I believe they're just being pressured by being a 500, you know, what, $1 billion company? Yeah, almost $1
Yeah.
trillion company.
Yeah.
Already the world's largest startup ever. They're being pressured by the market to release products before they're ready.
Mm.
Dev Day should have been announced with full support of any developer in that room. And what they did is they said, hey, developers, thanks for coming to Dev Day, but you can't get in yet. What kind of party is that?
Exactly. And I tell you what, it's an ongoing frustration. I think it's such a big ego battle. Like I feel like I'm sitting on the sideline watching a big wrestling match, and you've got these big guys going in and throwing each other around. And it's all about, well, I'm going to be the leader of the AI. So, oh no, I'm going to release this. And they release these things. And then you go and test them and you go, it doesn't do half of this stuff. You can't fix it because there's no one to talk to. So
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that. I mean, that really is,
But I mean, it's coming again in Europe. When you talk about Gemini being the front, if AI mode of Google does become search, it becomes the front end, which Google is going to do. The only way to shop for hotel inventory in AI mode or in Gemini is through Hotel Finder, Google Flights, or Google Maps. So again, you're being gatekeeped. And if you go to the European Commission, September 24th, they fined Google. Google's response was, the changes to the Digital Markets Act should not include AI chat services in the scope of the ruling. Think about that. They want OpenAI and Gemini to not be gatekeepers, right? They want it to be locked into travel only. And
Yeah.
that's a monopoly in America. In Europe, it's blocked under the Digital Markets Act, and they fined those two companies $30 billion. If you go to Australia, or if you go down to New Zealand, you guys have the Competition and Consumer Commission, which watches out for the people of Australia. And also New Zealand has the Commerce Act of 86 and the Customer Product Data Act. Everybody is watching out from these surveillance companies. That's all they are today. They're not product companies. They are surveillance companies. They're trying to do global surveillance on travelers, in particular Booking and Expedia, and they're ganging up on the suppliers because they're not letting them in. And good for the European Commission, at least forcing change and asking questions. Is it right for suppliers? I don't know that answer because Google's not giving it a fair test. If you go look at the search results in Europe, go search for hotels in Paris, you will see a far different Google. It allows links to individual properties, where in the US or anywhere around the world, you have to go into Hotel Finder and you're forced down a meta funnel.
Yeah, and I
And
have
that's monopoly. Those are monopolistic acts.
my point, and I was just like, it's almost like, how are they even able to get away with this? I mean, it is so obviously to me monopolization, and it's like that's going to have a serious knock on for a lot of New Zealanders or everybody across the world, and they don't even realize it's coming. And I'm sort of waiting for the regulatory bodies to go, oh, hang on, this actually isn't okay. We need to stop
Yeah.
this from happening. And then they're forced to actually, they get fined, but they won't do anything until they get fined, and they've got enough money to get fined. So what do they care, right?
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, if we think back to, I think it was 2006, think about Cambridge Analytica. Did you hear through Cambridge Analytica, the big Facebook data scandal?
No, I didn't even know this.
I mean, that's another, it's what AI is today is it's another breach of data. There's so much data being passed through these new systems. There's not much authentication because nobody really knows what the black boxes are storing. So it's another area where we could see Cambridge Analytica, where a lot of personal and private information is going to be shared across the web.
It's interesting what you mentioned there with black boxes. I had this query just the other day in one of my boot camps. If I go incognito, am I getting tracked, and is my data being used for training? And I said, it's not supposed to be. but I don't know if it is or if it's not. I don't know because I don't work for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that level of trust. It's like a free-for-all. And like you say, with the black box, how do you do your tracking? Like, I mean, especially in marketing, you'll know what it's like. It's all about tracking from start to finish. And it is that attribution channel is all just gone to the dogs now because it's like, how do you track every single thing that's happening out there in AI? Because you have the slightest difference in a query. Like I like feather pillows or I like lavender pillows, and you didn't have that. Now you're not suddenly in the search. I mean, there are a lot of moving parts that we've never had to cater for. So I'm really excited about hearing about how you can solve all those problems effectively. I want to talk to you about ads, paid ads in AI search. Can you talk
Yeah.
to me if you don't mind?
Yeah, there has to be a way to monetize this. There's not much you can do in the way of words, right? You're not going to write an ad in the generative copy. So there's going to be some ad element to it. Right now, Google is proposing through their max search ad unit is that you'll have some scroll bars, just like you see at the top of search today for hotels. There's an item list carousel. We're definitely going to see those start appearing inside of AI mode, especially as it surfaces itself and graduates to the main search response. So I believe we're going to see that carousel, and we're going to see individual rooms being surfaced. That's where Google is moving next. If you start to look at the natural search in the organic listings, if you scroll far enough down, you will start to see their room unit, and that room area is what's going to start to be surfaced when I do query a single property and I'm farther down the funnel. I'll start to see rooms there instead of a hotel block, or perhaps if it's a destination query, I'll see a map with a carousel of hotel options. So it will be buried in there. We're going to see carousels. Google is shifting to carousels. Anything you want to see that's coming to your country, always start looking at Europe. Europe is regulating the internet right now. And if you want to see what's coming, go start doing searches for your own name in the European view of Google. Anytime you go search Google, you can append at the very end of the URL an ampersand and then add these letters GL equals FR. That stands for ampersand Google language equals French FR. And if you do that, you're able to render what a European view looks like of search. And that you will see a very different knowledge panel off to the right. You will see a new tab at the top called lodging. There's new vertical search in there. They've also created a new tab to put the place sites, which is what they're calling the intermediaries. So they've actually started stripping out the OTAs in a separate vertical tab. So I have lodging, OTAs, and all search. That seems very fair. Why are they not doing that everywhere? That's what I'm concerned with. There has to be some sort of law created to find these companies 10 repeat offenders, 20% of their entire revenue for the year. The US government, I don't understand why they're not doing that. They should. That's a lot of revenue we would love. And it just goes into a bank and sits in a bank. It isn't even used for good in the industry when the EU collects it. It just sits there.
Well, it's so fascinating, isn't it? Well, at least they've woken up to it, and hopefully that will be a wake up call for everybody else. I am wondering if it's just half the time, I think it's just that it's moving so fast and they don't understand what's going on. And I think that's really it. I'm a leader of a country. I lead the country. I don't understand all this tech stuff. What's it?
Yeah.
I'm a politician. I don't get it. I don't understand what you're talking about. Somebody will sort it out on my staff.
And that's the challenge we're having in the States right now. The Department of Justice went after Google being a monopoly. They tried to strip them of Chrome, and they did not succeed. It didn't even matter. The legal argument for them having Chrome doesn't matter. There's new agent type browsers. Google's moving away from it. Look at Project Mariner. That's their new agent based browser. And they're going to move beyond that technology. And the Department of Justice spent millions of dollars going after them of my money, of taxpayer money. For what? For nothing. At the end, they did nothing, and they're still the gatekeeper.
We were so disappointed with that result. I was like, finally, they're being pulled to the heel. And it was like, oh, it's not that serious. It's serious, guys. You just have
Let me add that. The hospitality space doesn't need more technology. It just needs better connection. AI should
Yeah.
disappear in the background so that humans can shine in the foreground. I think that's what we're trying to do here at Agentic Hospitality is make it
Yeah.
disappear. Make all of the booking engine, the 60 steps a user has to go through when they know what they want. We have to remove that friction. Let technology do what it wants. Let the user come to a homepage prompt, give me this property, these dates, this room, my party, render a room, orchestrate a cart, do instant checkout, do it on your own website. You don't have to wait for Sam to open the gates. We have a product that can put it on your own website today.
Yeah. Now that's what I wanted to talk to you about because you have spoken about machine readable websites being requested and actually required instead of the HTML one.
Right.
So this is obviously something that you do. So I guess if you could just talk, like you just explained that right there, a lot of the hotels and a lot of businesses already have their own websites. Are you saying that we need to
Right.
build another website that's all agentic, or is it something we can just edit? Like I've got one where they've literally just rebuilt it.
Yeah.
It is the old way, unfortunately, but it is the
Yep.
old way, and that's what it. So they wouldn't be open to doing something. So,
Yeah.
what are your solutions? What do you reckon?
Yeah, nor have the budget to, right? Most hotels are being squeezed for commissions and OTA fees that and brand fees and brand marketing dollars. They're being squeezed by everybody and they're left with a real estate note and housekeeping to run the property. And then they have to be cheerful and have a smile on too. So
Yeah.
we built products knowing that they're not going to have the revenue to replace their existing stack, their
Mhm.
existing website. So we built a product that is not a rip and replace at all. You can go into an existing website, any legacy website, any bed and breakfast, campground, campsite. It doesn't have to be 100 key or a 3,000 key property. It just needs to be somebody that wants to go find guests and join the conversation. Anybody can do it. For our solutions, we have a product where you put one script on your page. You
Mhm.
do that in Google Tag Manager, and we can start to inform search engines, inform AI crawlers about the content of your page, give it more context. And once it has that context, it then surfaces it in front of the user that's asking for a trip in Sydney. Give me something in the Sydney Harbor. And it will then go look at your schema.org markup. It will identify the location specs, your amenities, nearby attractions, points of interest. Even your geolocation is going to help with hotels near me. So
Mhm.
all of that rich markup has to sit on your site somewhere. We provide a tool that allows you to inject it on any page of your site with Tag Manager. It's called Schema Adapter, and that's sort of our entry product. Anybody can add markup to their page with this Schema Adapter solution. And then if you want to go a tier up, then you're adding our AI assistant to your page. And that's where it's let's call it a floating action button that sits in the bottom right, center, or left of your page. And a user, if they has a me, have a hesitation, you can then trigger that assistant to ask, can I help you? It's an anonymized service, but it does know the behavior, the pages that you visited before. And it will say, hey, Victoria, can I help? Probably doesn't know you yet, but can I help you follow up on these images? You looked at a pool image. Are you interested in our pool? So it's a more informed conversation. We take and route that conversation to looking at photos, looking at F&B, or if the intent readiness says that the Victoria is ready to buy, we then put room cards in front of you so that you can purchase a room without having to go to a booking engine. So we removed 60 clicks in the booking engine down to one prompt, one click for purchase. That's the AI assistant.
Okay. Is this your agent tied into the hotel back end database or not? Is it just pulling information off the website?
Yeah, ideally, we're doing two of those. We're pulling it in from any source of data we can. AI loves PDFs. So if we can get any sources of PDF, anything we can put into your model, we're allowed to, and we do. And then on top of that, we map your ARI. So we try and connect with either your property management software or your central reservation system. And if we're able to do that, then yes, we have a two-way sync. So once a guest is making a booking in that conversational commerce engine, that booking is passed down to Infor or Cloudbeds or Muse or whatever system you're running.
Okay. So this is once someone is actually on the website, or is this when, say, I'm searching in chat or Google AI mode? Does it help me with being surfaced in there as well?
It is both. I would say for the hotel industry right now, focus on your own home. Fix your own house first. If you can focus on teaching your users how to use generated, how to build a trip, how to build an itinerary, how to learn more about you. Once you've done that, you're teaching them to come back to your website to use generative, not go to OpenAI or ChatGPT or Manus. That there's going to be 50, 30 AI solutions out there. There's going to be smaller AI solutions, small language model coming where they're going to be vertically integrated. So there's probably going to be a lot of new small language models that are travel specific or flight specific or cruise specific. So we're going to see a lot more advances in technology. And that's why we believe while the AI native service is the end goal, you do want to be in that conversation. We feel like you should train your customer on your own website and your own marketplace first. That way they know to come back to you and not go to somebody else like Expedia or Booking, which we've allowed them to do for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, for those whose brand is already strong, that's awesome. Because you look at your traffic that you get just to your websites, how much of it is direct? Well, those people can go direct. The second thing I'd like to point out is basically the way that AI search is working, Google and all of them all LLMs are training us to search in a different way to what we've always done.
Yeah.
And effectively, your customers are going to expect to do this when they get to your website. So if
Yeah.
they have done the modern way and then they flick over to a traditional format, that's going to be now hard work for your customers to book with you.
It's
So
friction.
yeah,
Right.
it's friction. And you want to have, this is the way that we now use, you've got to match what the customers want, right? So
Right.
deliver in the way that they like it to be delivered. So let's match that. And this is a way to
Yep.
do it. So in terms of what you're offering there, I know there's something called MCPs. Do you know much about them? And can you tell me what they are for those who don't know? And are they something that you use, or if you could just be?
Yeah. So once you have your product marked up on your website, right? So you're going to have a page on your site that's homepage.com. And then you're going to have homepage.com/MCP.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
That is how machines are going to call your phone number. Let's call it a phone number. That is your IP they're going to call. And on that, they're going to ask things. Those things they're going to ask, that's from the MCP, the Model Context Protocol. All that is questions. It's calls into the data. So one call in our industry is go search for product details. Tell me about a room, right? So when I go and say, give me Queenstown King Suite Hotel, it's going to go through the MCP to the property and it's going to call King rooms to be returned to that chat conversation.
Okay.
So all an MCP is a gateway, and there are tools and information about what it can do.
Okay.
And then once I know what an MCP can do, I then am able to invoke it to go do it. So for a hotel lookup, it would be product search. For an area like hotels in Sydney, I would do a catalog search. If I want to add to my carts and check out, I would say update cart. So those are the tools that the MCP gateway are doing to the data.
Okay.
So all I'm doing is calling all your rooms at your property. I do that through the MCP. It calls through the /MCP page. It returns a response, a payload to the foundational LLM, and then it responds to the user. And all of that happens in hundreds of milliseconds.
Yeah. So what you're offering with your Agentic Hospitality, is that something that you offer as a service, so that I've now sorted my site,
Yeah.
made it easy
Yeah.
for people to actually
Yeah.
find, and now we want to have that MCP connection. We can do that with you.
Yeah, and that's the third solution. That's the all in, right? That's the
Yeah.
client that built the website with the other vendor. He's going to have to change his website. He's going to have to build on our agent developer kit. We call it Agent Site. And once you have an agent site, you then have a human page, a presentation layer, and a data layer. And the difference is the URL that a machine calls.
Sorry, can you say that again? I missed that. So a data layer?
Yeah, you're going to have a data layer. That's where your schema is. So
Okay.
it'll be homepage.com/MCP. That's your data layer.
Okay.
And then your presentation layer is just what the website sees. It's homepage.com.
Oh, okay. Got you. Got you. Okay. Understand that. Okay. So effectively, at the end of the day, like we don't actually have to rebuild our sites, but an agent site, is that a completely new site or not?
Agent site would be the selecting a new site option and moving forward with the new site. It is the equivalent
Oh, I've lost you.
of a Shopify for travel. That's what we are, a Shopify for travel. So,
Shopify for travel. Okay.
yeah, we're basically a Shopify for travel there with our agent site. We're able to be Shopify. We're able to put a merchant feed out.
Okay. All right. I love it. Okay. So, wow, there's just so much, yeah, happening. Now, just one of the questions that I did get from one of our members before we started was we've got a chatbot on our site. And I did mention that you've got your facility that can, your AI agent. Won't that clash with what we've already got? That was the question I have. What's the answer to that?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And my answer to that is we are not a chatbot. We're an AI assistant that is an infrastructure layer to your platform. So what that means is a chatbot is programmed to have an input output. It's programmed to have a prompt and a response. And when you ask something outside of that prompt, it fails pretty bad or it doesn't respond at all.
Hmm.
So I have tested some chatbots where you go in and the first biggest friction with the chatbot is it asks for first name, last name, phone, email, right? It collects all your data before I've asked for anything. I don't want to give you that. I just have a question. So
Hmm.
that's my biggest frustration with chatbots is they're not designed properly, right? They're designed for loyalty and data collection, and that's not what the user wants. They want to chat quickly, get information, and leave. And you're putting too many barriers in their way.
Right.
So what AI assistants do is they have a open text box, right? Google search, a big white box, and it says, ask me anything. And AI assistants have no barriers. They will answer. You have to put guardrails. It will answer anything. So you have to be careful. But that's where you do prompt tuning. That's where you mold it. That's where you train your own model. And that's what brands are going to have to learn. They're going to have to retool their salespeople. They're going to have to retool the entire staff to start adopting AI. Every day, find a new way for AI to change your workday. It can fix your workday. It can improve it. It can make it more efficient. And if everybody at the property is using AI to make their workday better, it frees up time to then serve the guest. Then they could be hospitable to the guest again. They could do what the guest wants, enjoy their stay, make travel fun again.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of my goals is to use AI to relieve the overwhelm that marketers have on their desk. Just get rid of that,
Yeah.
all that repetitive grind stuff that we don't like to do. Let's get rid of
Yeah.
that and let's focus on the fun stuff. So it's exactly what you're saying there as well. Okay. Wow. That's amazing. So, okay. The other thing I think I just wanted to get into was, yeah, you said that OTAs like trip.com are already getting quite aggressive. Can you explain what's happening there and why it's such a big deal for accommodation providers? I mean, I think you kind of touched on that already, but is it that, like, you mentioned in one of your talks, I think it was specifically trip.com, and I thought, is there something further that's happening with them than perhaps the others that I don't know about?
Well, the others are being regulated. That's the problem.
Mm.
Booking.com got too big and everybody's going to regulate them until they find a way to break them up. So Booking is going to shift gears and go to credit card payment and go to new areas where they're not going to be regulated. That's what Booking's doing. So the biggest problem the industry's going to have is that Booking.com doesn't care about the transaction anymore. That's going to be a big problem because then they're going to drop the commission. Well, what if they don't charge you 20% anymore? What if they charge you 1%? You're still going to use it. And then they're going to charge you to use their credit card 17%. They're going to find a way to get their money from you. They're
Yeah.
going to call it something different. It's not going to be a transaction commission. It's going to be Marriott using Expedia's vacation platform to build Marriott Vacations, right? They're going to, the brands, they don't have an option. They're not technology companies. They're going to have to start building on top of the Expedia and Booking. And that's when the independents have the biggest opportunity to wipe out the brands entirely. And that's why I'm putting my support behind the independent properties, the property owners that believe in their guests and make the property special. They can bring unexpected experiences in. And once you have an unexpected experience in something as black and white on and off as generative chat, right? It's a text area. What you have a mobile device. What if your guest could shake that mobile device and generative chat will flash out Donald Duck, right? Work with Disney parks and make it unexpected and magical. And I think the independent hotels, the boutique hotels, the luxury, they know how to deliver that one of a kind experience. And look at Marriott. There are 31 brands. I couldn't name them all. I doubt any of their employees could name all 31 of their flags. And what are we doing there? I mean, so I loved that at the lodging conference, the president of Preferred Hotels was sitting on a panel with three of the largest hotel franchise systems. And she literally turned and said, what are we doing making the same boxes?
Yeah.
These soft brands just continue and continue. And there's no differentiation. And the big brands tried to defend it for a moment and said, we have 300 million guests and they want different products, but 31 of the same products isn't the solution.
That's it. I think this is one of the passions that I've had over the years with my digital marketing agency, was always working with activity providers, hotels, whatever. But there's always something quirky and different. And in New Zealand, Kiwi owner operator, because their heart is in the business. And this is kind of why I love hooking up with you, because their heart's in the business and you really get that. I had one where one of the dear lady and her husband, it was a cruise here in Queenstown. And man, she would stand out there every day and go, "Come on to my cruise, you're going to love it." And it was just, it was such an easy sell and people just loved it. And they did 3 cruises a day, sometimes 4. And every single time you went on that boat, it was like the first time they'd ever done it. And it was just easy to promote them because their heart's in it, they love it. And this is what what I love about the independence. There's always something quirky, different. And by the way, I think AI looks for that too. And it's how do we help those people? And I'm totally with you. Do you want the big stuff and a sausage factory and the same old, or do you want something different? And here's an opportunity for the experience not to start when they get to your door, to actually start at the beginning of the booking process. It's like I'm going off to Disneyland and Donald Duck comes up and says, "Hey, would you like to book with me?" That is quirky. Yeah. I mean, it's like, how cool would that be? Or just be something very different. So I think that's the opportunity. I'm with you on that. So
And then think about this though, when you talk about retaining your data, instead of just a first name and an email that's not you, now think about this in the conversation that's had a top funnel way before the journey gets to the property. What if that information got passed down to the concierge and the property? Now I know that you did engage with Donald. You like Donald. You didn't put him in your cart to buy. So traditional KPIs would never say Donald at the front desk PMS. But because I can pass the entire conversation down, all of your intent, I can say to the front desk, they have a child coming with them that enjoyed playing with that Donald deck. He flipped it on 45 times. And I can put a little Donald Duck stuffy in their room, right? Just make it unexpected and magical. And I think the right hoteliers that are going to win in AI are going to know how to do that. They're not going to say, I now have to staff a box of 35 Donald Ducks in my front desk, right? They're going to say, I'm going to bring this pure excitement and joy to this child by delivering this one thing because I was able to retain the conversation. I was reclaiming it and I was reinforcing total lifetime value.
I love it. And then what about once they've left the hotels? Following on, they might come back. Do we have loyalty programs with what we've got with you?
Yeah, it ties into any loyalty. I mean, any customer database should be the backbone of AI. You want to And that's, I mean, for lack of better term, it is surveillance. You have a guest profile and you're logging any signal you can against that guest profile. And then you're using any marketing tool to remarket to that customer immediately after stay, looking for that review, looking for the re-engagement, looking for the social share, and then starting to sell them on their next trip, right? You want to try and get 2 or 3 bookings per year out of each guest, if not looking for the repeat per year. So yes, AI allows you to start engaging at the discovery phase, through the booking phase, through the on-site phase, through the re-engagement, and getting back into that cycle of discovery again.
What about personalized upsells within the hotels, within the accommodation?
Yeah, that's the biggest opportunity. Right now, a booking engine is very static. It's
Mhm.
step one, step two, check out. With AI solutions, we have clients that have used the new Comet browser from Perplexity.
Mhm.
And in that, they go through our new agentic booking engine, which will surface upsells through the autonomous process. So a guest could be navigating in the agent browser. They could be playing with the AI assistant that's off to the right panel. And as they go through this new personalized booking experience, a new orchestrated cart, it will ask them, do you, for $49, do you want to upgrade room types to a double room? And through the just a text response in the AI assistant, the user says yes. And then boom, my total booking goes from 321 to 487. I've got a 51% increase in my average cart.
Mm.
And that's all because I have a booking engine that's not static anymore.
So in the terms of like, we've got a lot of folks who have preferred like activity providers that they have with their room. It might be
Yeah.
a wine trip. It might be whatever, a cruise.
Yep.
Can they specify what gets shown or not?
Yeah, that's part of the early connection we do with the customers is mapping their data to the data store. So yeah, we're working with the clients to either contain the content on their website and surface it, or if we as Agentic Hospitality pull the industry together, we're able to tap into events from any worldwide provider and surface it for a single property. So if we're working with a property like the Blue House in Jamaica, a small bed and breakfast, and she, instead of writing content and sitting there jamming out 500 words to put on a page, she may go through one of our content partners. We could supply local content in her local area in Jamaica, and then she can go off and do her ministry services where she's building additional homes, right? We want to give people freedom to go do the great things that they do and just leave the technology. It's going to happen. It's all here. The foundation's laid for it to work. We just have to trust it.
Mm. Wow, it's incredible. I mean, it's quite. So I know what my B&Bs, my Airbnbs on small motels are. Vicky, this sounds expensive. They're going to go, a lot of them aren't that tech savvy to begin with.
Yeah.
This sounds amazing, but I don't know how to do it and how to implement it. That's one thing. And then the second thing is,
Yeah.
this sounds like it's going to be really dear. So could you speak to those two, please, for me?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some free options where you could start dipping your toes in. And then, yeah, there's always different levels of product and engagement you can get with any solution. I think what is paramount for any hotelier today is start something.
Mhm.
We have some free options. We can work with a property to turn on a focus chat.
Mhm.
So it's an agent that sits behind a button. You could have like a question mark next to a room. And if they click that question mark, a focused agent will pop up and it will be a reservationist and will answer any questions for them. Those types of features that are provided by agent to agent technology, those can be turnkey and free.
Mhm. You've just touched on something there as well. Agent to agent. Okay. Like this was something we were talking about. Remember, there was something that went viral where there were two agent bots or whatever they were talking to each other, and then it got crazy, like what their results were. Like
Yeah.
moving forward, is that the way that we're going to be landing up going? Like, is the AI bot that
Yeah.
the AI agent that I've got on my website going to talk to an activities AI agent, and are those two agents then going to talk to the LLM agent? And is it all about agents? What is
Yeah, it is going to become about agents. I mean, think about yourself personally. How much research do you do when you go on a family trip? You're at least looking. The data says Google says 45 to 60 different websites, 280 pages over a 30 to 42-day period. That's a lot of work. I want an AI agent to go do that research for me, put it in a nice Canva or Markdown file. Let me go look at it later. Let me curate it. Let me say yes, no to some of these things. And then once I trust my itinerary, I do believe customers are going to say book it. Not for a while, not this year. Maybe by the end of summer, a customer will be ready to do that. They have to play with it. And if you don't put it on your site so that they can play with it, they're not going to do it through you. And that's the problem.
Yeah, that's so true.
We thought gap fill for OTAs was going to be fun, right? They're going to help me fill need periods. Well, if you do that with AI, they're going to steal your entire company and you're just going to be the real estate holder of that hotel.
Oh, that's so crazy. We're going to avoid that at all costs. And as like what I've noticed as well is that we're halfway through that booking process where it surfaces the different result. If you're lucky, if you've optimized, I talk a lot about AI optimization, how to get found in AI search as an independent. But effectively, that where it's falling down, at least in New Zealand, ends the follow up. It's like, and then you hand it over to what? There's nothing in the background to follow through to do the actual agentic booking. And that's where you come in. It's like, and you have to be the first off the boat with this kind of thing moving. Well, those who are, I don't know, this is my opinion, are going to be the ones who lead. And then they're playing catch up, aren't they? So that's really where it's all going to come down to. Okay, so this is amazing. I mean, like you've just mentioned so much here. I don't even know how to recap it all. We've learned all about AI search, the OTAs, how they're actually playing the game, ideas of how we can go about not falling into the trap moving forward with AI using agentic hospitality like yourself.
Right.
Different options. We've got the entry level so that you can dip your toes in the water. Is this something that you think that smaller providers would be able to afford? Have you got solutions? Like, is it a monthly? Is it a one-off? Maybe you can.
Yeah, they're going to be monthly rates. We're going to try and avoid a commissionable style and get away from that. They're going to be monthly sort of SaaS pricing at the beginning. And then over time, as things open up, I think there's new pricing models that will emerge, some sort of data exchange, a tokenized payment, if you will. So there are a lot of opportunities that are coming. What I do believe is the 20-30% commission is probably going to be over, and you may be paying it a different way to get that high, but the distribution costs are going to come down with AI. So that is one advantage we have. It's just unless you control the pipes all the way through, you're probably going to be paying a different fee, a different way to still get up to that 30%. So it is time to start reclaiming the journey. You got to reinforce direct bookings. Otherwise, this opportunity is going to pass again.
Yeah. So that's all about owning your own data, guys. Really, really important. Question is, do you want to own your own data? If you do, this is the gentleman to speak to. So how do folks actually connect with you then, Brad?
Say again, sorry?
How do they reach you if they want to actually connect with you to take this conversation further, for you to talk to them about their hotels? What,
Yeah, so when hotels want to own their own data and control their own distribution and activate AI native systems, that's when you put Agentic Hospitality in motion. You can find us at agentichospitality.com. You can email us at sales@agentichospitality.com, or you can reach our sales team direct at 303-406-1053. And we'll be happy to help find you a free solution, find you a paid solution that will help drive incremental revenue to help grow direct bookings at your property. Or we can jump in the deep end together, get a full agent site, and start to beat the OTAs once and for all.
Yeah, I love it. Man, you are just my kind of guy. I love it. You have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Brad. So many pearls of wisdom. I can understand why they had you talking in Washington at the summit. So fantastic. Don't be a stranger, and we will stay connected, and I will speak to you next time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great.